Hello everybody, my name is Sniping's Fun, and I welcome all of you back to the 35th character here on the Smash Bros. 5 Smash Bros. Switch Newcomer Ideas series of videos. We've talked about numerous characters so far, ranging from Muddy Mole and the Excite Biker to Rex and Rayman, Bomberman, Captain Toad, Dixie Kong, Travis Touchdown, and many, many more Nintendo third-party retro indie characters and the like. We're on number 35 now. The series is still going. I have numerous characters still to talk about, but this time we are talking about Gunvolt from the series Azure Striker Gunvolt, which was on the 3DS, and they have the collection on the Switch, the Gunvolt Striker Pack or whatever it's called. And I don't know if it's available anywhere else, but in terms of Nintendo, it's been on the 3DS and the Switch. So there you go, in terms of Smash Brothers. And another indie character on my list, I've already talked about the likes of Shantae and Shovel Knight and whatnot. So here we are, another character, Gunvolt, and Nintendo's super big on indie characters. So let's get started and talk about his chances for Smash Brothers. And as always, 3 separate categories. Why do they make sense for Smash Brothers? Boosted ideas, and percentage chance I can see him getting in. Let's talk about why Gunvolt here makes sense. He's a popular indie character. He's not as popular as, say, Shantae and Shovel Knight or some character like Quote. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm going to be talking about him eventually too, somewhere down the line. But I think given his relevant recent history, he's not been around as long as those characters. He's been around as long as Shovel Knight, but he hasn't been around as long as like Shantae and Quote and everything. Like, he's still a popular character given that he's only been around for so many years, just like Shovel Knight. But Shovel Knight just escalates super high. Like, Gunvolt has gotten there, but hasn't gotten to Shovel Knight levels of recent indie fame, especially on Nintendo or otherwise. But he is a recently popular indie character from the series, especially on Nintendo, and his games I think have only been on Nintendo, I think, unless they were on mobile too, I'm not fully sure. But he's a popular indie character that's super heavily, recognizable, not as much as Shantae, Quote, and Shovel Knight, but he's there, and he's close to Nintendo, and it's a good-looking future. I'm sure we're going to get a Azure Striker Gunvolt 3 or 4 or 5. I'm sure it's going to continue just like Shantae and eventually maybe Shovel Knight and whatnot. So it's like an indie character that's relevant recently and popular, that's close to Nintendo, has a pretty freaking, good future on its hands, and has a main character that is at least a bit recognizable, given that he's also being utilized in the likes of Blade Strangers and that puzzle game. There's like a puzzle game too. I think he's using that too, and he's been used in like Blaster Master or something. Like the character's been utilized in multiple different cameos and spin-offs on indie games and eShop games for Nintendo. So I'm thinking that at least helps his chance. He's utilized in a bunch of other indie games. He's basically an indie character that's popular, recently relevant, close to Nintendo. The series is still likely going to go on. I wouldn't put him on levels of like a Shantae and a Shovel Knight, but I'd put him at least on the same level as someone like Quote, even given the fact that Quote's been around longer. So he's been doing quite a bit for himself the last couple of years, and I think at least Azure Striker Gunvolt does deserve it would be an indie franchise to represent for Smash Brothers. So there you go with that. Moveset ideas. I've actually never played the second one yet, even though I own the collection on the Switch. I own the first one on the 3DS and obviously with the collection, and I haven't beaten it yet, but I have the series, and I only mostly have memory of the first game and not so much the second. Just letting you guys know that here. But in terms of moveset for his smash attacks, he has this gun called the Dart Leader, which is basically just like a laser gun. So I'm going to focus his smash attacks mostly on his little handgun blaster energy rifle type of thing. It does electromagnetic it's electromagnetic projectile weapons. He's very much like he's an adept. He basically has his body so it's like electrons and electricity, and he's been like experimented on, and he's like, I think he's part robot, I think, or at least semi-robotic ish. I can't remember the story so much right now. It's been a while since I played it. But he has this electromagnetic projectile weapons. It does damage, but most of his damage is going to come from his special attacks, not his smash attacks. He is going to have a couple melee-based attacks. He is a skilled fighter, so he's going to do some physical attacks like punches and kicks. You have to have that in there at least to do some sort of physical up close damage. But most of his smash attacks are going to be the Dart Leader and doing electromagnetic shocks to opponents. And that's where it's going to be the smash attacks. Now we get into the special attacks, and this is going to be where like he has like his special little niche to his moveset, like how Little Mac has the punch meter, and you know the sword, like the tome can only be used for Robin X amount of times. You know how the certain characters in Smash Bros. 4 have their own little quirks, their own little little things that only they can do. This will be his. In the game, the number of times you shoot an enemy with the Dart Leader, it kind of builds up like their electromagnetic impulse inside themselves. So when you do like your special attacks, it does more damage to them. So that's what I think I would do. The number of times you shoot an opponent as Gunvolt with his Dart Leader, if you shoot a number of times, you get a little cursor over the opponent to know how many times you shot them. That when you do the special attacks, depending on how many times you shot them, you do more damage. But it's a time-based thing, so if you don't really do too many attacks in quick succession, we have to make the timer on that a little bit less than the actual games, or he'll be OP as hell. You have to make the timer like he has to get a quick succession of attacks right after he does the Dart Leader. It takes a little bit longer in the games, but that's very Mega Man-esque and very platforming-esque. You know, it's like strategy in the game, so you have to limit that a little bit on his moveset in Smash Brothers. That they do more damage. And you can still do damage with the special attacks without using the Dart Leader on them, but if you strategically shoot them with the Dart Leader and enough a couple of times, you do double, triple damage on them. And I think that's going to be like a risk versus reward. Do I use my time to use the Dart Leader to build them up so I can do more damage, or do I do quick little bits of damage now? So I don't get myself killed and beaten and lose my stocks and everything. So it's a risk versus reward for him, and that's his little thing. Shooting the Dart Leader, and then his special attacks will basically be the Astrosphere, which he has like 3 electric orbs that circle him. It'll be more of like a defense thing, but it's only temporary. It's not his shield, but it could damage people if you walk into him. So it keeps you protected a little bit. There's the Flash Field, which is this giant barrier around him, and if you're in the barrier when he uses it, it's going to hurt you, especially if you have high electromagnetic stuff from the Dart Leader. So it's like he walks up close to you and uses the little barrier and damages you, hurts you, gives you, damage. And then there is, the Luxcalibur, which is this giant energy sword that he just shoots forward. So like if you're walking forward, he'll be like his left B and he'll charge it up, and he's just walking, and then like this giant Excalibur-esque energy sword just comes flying out from him and goes forward. And then that'll do a decent amount of damage if you have a high Dart Leader shot on you. So there's that. And this isn't specifically from the first game, it's from the second game, and it's also not a thing that Gunvolt uses, but they've done stuff to represent, characters from a franchise in a character, like, Ness. Some of the stuff he does is not stuff he necessarily does himself in the Mother Earthbound franchise. But I'll give him the Shred Storm, which is like these drawn slightly like slash marks in front of him and stuff like that. So I think it's a little more random in the game, but random stuff in a Smash Bros. Fighting game would be a little bit too, no one like in the fighting game scene will like it, so it has to be in front of them. Like these slash marks just come out from in front of them, and like they slash the opponents. Like these like energy slash things just come in front of them and slash the screen, and if there's an opponent in front of you, they'll get damaged and hurt. It's not specifically from him, it's from the character in, Azure Strike Gunvolt 2, but it's kind of like the whole Ness situation here. I'm representing the franchise in him, not necessarily everything he does, but stuff that's in the series in general. And I think that would be something good to give him. So the Shred Storm, which does like slash energy attacks in front of you, the Astrosphere, which is like 3 energy beams that protect you, the Flash Field, which is this giant energy beam around you, and the Luxcalibur, which is a giant energy sword. And they do more damage depending on the number of times you use the Dart Leader on your opponent. You can do it normally and do a decent chunk of damage, but if you strategically shoot them a number of amount of times and then use your special attacks, you'll do double, triple, quadruple damage. So it's risk versus reward. What do you do? And then for the final smash, pretty much his most powerful attack in the game is called the Voltaic Chains, which is where the chain, on stage, all these chains start covering up the stage. They become filled with electricity, and the opponents around him get shocked and hurt and badly damaged. So he'll summon the chains to just cover up the smash stage, and they get filled with electricity, and if there's any opponent that's near them, they'll get shocked, massive damage, and probably get some flying off the stage if they have a high amount of percentage damage. So there you go. And that's it for his moveset. The Dart Leader, his special attacks, like Excalibur and the Astrosphere, that do more damage depending on how many times you shoot the person with the Dart Leader. He does some special, smash, like punches and kicks, and then the Voltaic Chains as his final smash. As for percentage chance, third category, I see him getting in. I'm going to give him about a 65%. He's definitely lower than Shovel Knight and Shantae. I gave them about 85%. There's an indie character in this game. The chances are, if they pick any indie characters, it's going to be Shantae and Shovel Knight. They're super popular, super big, super historical, in Shantae's case, in terms of indie characters for Nintendo. But Gunvolt is in that category below them, with the likes of Quote and whatnot, where he's likely, but not as likely. It depends on if they include indie characters or not, and if they do include indie characters, how many indie characters they include. Because if there's only so few, it's going to be those two before him, because Shantae's more historical and Shovel Knight's just super more popular. So there you go. But I do think he fits the indie character thing for Smash Bros., and I do think Smash Bros. Might have at least one indie character this time because of how much Nintendo pushes indie characters, indie franchises, pushes their nindies nowadays. They're like the company that pushes indie gaming more, and they're also the game company that gets the most sales out of indie games, apparently. So I do think we're going to see at least one of them in there, but we have to see a couple of them before I think we see him. He's possible, he's likely, but he's below the likes of Shantae and Shovel Knight. And I'm sorry if people really want him over them, but they're kind of more likely. Sorry to say. But he's still possible, and I still would like to see him because he's a cool character in the franchise. It's really fun. If you like Mega Man, the Mega Man Z series, the Zero series, you really like this because I think it's from the same developers or some of the same creators. And that's it for Azure Striker Gunvolt. That's character number 35. Hope you guys liked this video. Put in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys like the moveset ideas? What would you give him for moveset ideas? If you played the series, would there be other moves you want to give him? What reasons do you think he makes sense to get in? Do you think he even should be in? What percentage chance would you give him? Do you think 65 is too high, too low? Put in the comment section below, and we can discuss it there, have some fun. And number 35 is finally done. And 36, when I get on to 36 in my next recordings, when I record some more, we're going to be jumping back into the world of Donkey Kong with Funky Kong. Yes! Character number 36 will be Funky Kong. Stay tuned for that, and have a lovely day. Bye.